Live streaming is on.
Hello, everybody. My name is Charles Carter, and I'm your host this evening for the Stunt Hangar video Hangout. And this evening is Monday, September 28th, and I hope all's going well with everybody out there. Just want to mention that we talk about model airplanes, model aviation, talk about flying, building, um, competing, or sport flying, and we want to keep it friendly room friendly. So don't say anything you wouldn't say around your young children or grandchildren. And want to also encourage you to subscribe and like and share. That helps with the analytics of the program, and also helps with Sparky with some of the expenses of doing the live streaming at contests and just to produce this form and everything. So I'd like to appreciate your participation in that and contributing to that, and thank you very much in advance. I'm going to have the members of Stunt Hangar. We actually come in here live with a microphone and a camera, and we communicate with each other. But you're more than welcome to, if you're not a member of Stunt Hangar, join. You just need to register with your first real name and real last name and a space between those two, and a valid email address. And of course, Sparky actually is the one who actually allows you to become a member. So if you don't do that, you're not going to get approved. Okay. So, and if there's a problem, just let me know, and I can communicate to Sparky that I know you or have conversations with you, and that you're not a troll. Okay. So, with that being said, oh, also we have a membership. The membership is three tiers. I'm also a membership at $4.99 a month, like Starbucks coffee, you know. So, but you get a lot more than just a beverage. You know, I learned quite a bit from this forum, even watching Sparky and even communicating with my colleagues here. Speaking of them, I'm going to post the link now, and I'm looking over to another screen, so it's posted. Let's see, my internet's a little bit slow. I hit post. There it is. It's posted there now. So hopefully we'll have some people come on in, and then we'll start talking together. But until then, I guess I'm going to have to talk. You know, I've been working on a new plane. I call it Precious Balsa. It's a kind of homage to that Reno Air Racer, Precious Metal. So the plane's not made out of metal, so I call it Precious Balsa. For some reason, that's what flipped my boat at that time, and so that's what I went with. All right, the first one in this time is Gary. Hey, Gary Sinclair, how are you doing?
Good. Doing good.
So is your that plumbing problem all resolved? It's all done now?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's right. You can save on your water bill now.
Yeah. I don't think it lasted too long.
Good. It's good to catch it early.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Charles.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
All right.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Gary.
We was watching Sparky, Sparky, weren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's making a machine.
He's got me all fired up with the CNC now.
Yeah.
I know. I saw the one where he was putting it together, and then I saw the one where he's at John Jordan's house, and they're trying to cut some wood. Did you see that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. He was commenting on, congratulations, guys, you figured it out.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I think I've been thinking about building one for a long time and kind of been collecting parts. And so I kind of got excited about seeing Sparky's success. So I was out in my machine shop working on building a frame for one.
Very nice. So you have any parts to show us?
Yeah, I'll show you the some of the metal shavings I made.
Oh wow. That must
So
be
there's
nice to have a nice mill in your shop.
Yep. Made a bunch of aluminum chips. So yeah, I got the frame started. I had a lot of parts already gathered to build one. I have all the linear guides, linear slides for each axis, and so I built up a frame out of some extrusion that I had, and milled the ends so they were square and stuff and the right size. But I ordered a bunch of screws and
Wow.
lead screws and a bunch of stuff. So,
Wow.
I'll probably post some stuff later on as I progress on it.
Nice
And that's
toy.
great.
Very nice toy.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had room for a mill. I mean, even if I could get one of those, I don't have room for a mill like that.
Well, I don't either.
Maybe a tabletop mill. I've been
I don't even
entertaining.
have room for that.
I know. I'd make room for like a shoreline, tabletop mill,
Yeah.
something like that.
Wow.
That is
I
nice.
thought you were supposed to be an electrical guy. Wow.
I am.
Electromechanical. Hey, was it you that was trying to figure out the stuff to clean the motor with?
Yes.
All right, hang on just a second.
Sure. Hey, Tryon.
Hey, gentlemen.
Oh. All right. I went to Lowe's today.
Right.
A few minutes ago. Oh. Now you're just trying to make me jealous. I could get a picture of my wife's Mustang, you dog.
Yeah, but he has two.
Look at that.
But he has two Camaros, Phil.
Oh. What's the other one?
73 Z28.
You dog. You dog. This stuff is what has replaced airplane stripper, apparently.
Let me click on you, Phil.
It's not it's still by clean strip, but now it's just called quick strip. But it works the same way. It works real well. If you can't get this, let me know, and I'll buy some and mail it to you. I'll have to get your addresses, but it's not that expensive. I can't remember how much it was. And naturally, since it's from Lowe's, there's no price on it. But anyway, it's just not that expensive. But you just take an old toothbrush. I put some of this in a little plastic cup, not plastic, in a little metal. It looks like something you'd make a cupcake in, but it's only half-inch tall. I can't think of what they're made for.
I
Anyway,
actually picked up some stuff. Let me go run and get it. I'll show
Okay.
you what I found.
But this stuff works great, and it works just like airplane stripper did. I put it on a motor that was just brown, and it's nice. Looks like fresh aluminum now.
Really?
Just remember, like I told you before, when you put it on there, you dip the end of the toothbrush in it, and then put that on, especially on the fins and all, and run it through, and just use a decent toothbrush. Don't use a good one, but a decent toothbrush, and put it through there and let it set about 15 minutes, and then just wash it off. But plug up the intake and the exhaust so that it don't end up in the motor. But again, don't use your own toothbrush because it tastes bad.
Yeah, I bet. I've heard you use those brushes that people who have partials clean their dentures with.
That works too.
A denture brush works really good. What you got there?
That'll work if you can
This
find
is
it.
what I found, and this is what I tried.
That's the stuff. That's the stuff. I never seen it in an aerosol before. But that's it. Aircraft, that's it. That should work.
Wow.
Put it on there and let it set. But you want to brush it around. Once you spray it on, you want to brush it around a little bit with a toothbrush or something, a little brush.
I've got the engine's all disassembled, so.
Oh, that won't be a problem then.
And
I still don't know how to take a Super Tiger 60 apart. I've never taken one apart.
I tried it, and then I also have an ultrasonic cleaner, and then I just put all the parts in the ultrasonic cleaner afterwards.
I have
And
been
that
told. I have been told ultrasonic cleaner put some antifreeze in it. Antifreeze in ultrasonic cleaner will do it. That's what I've been told. I don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, so I've never tried it. But the guys all used to say that. And then I finally got an ultrasonic cleaner, and they were telling me about this stuff. So then I don't know what happened to the ultrasonic cleaner. I can't find it. So anyway,
I know
whatever.
some of the
Howdy.
some of the chemicals that they use in ultrasonic cleaners can dull the aluminum or change the color of the aluminum. So
I had one come out white.
you have to be careful about what
He's had
chemicals
his
you use.
nighttime pills.
Yeah.
He's had his nighttime pills. You need to get your PJs on and get ready for bed, though.
I had
can
one
play
come
that
back
tomorrow.
white. It was so tarnished. It was white.
Bring me your
And,
chart. Well, Sam, you're not going to.
That was a funky looking Fox 35. I'm telling you.
Now, I had a friend who uses simple green in his sonic cleaner.
That'd probably work. I use Sonic. I use simple green to clean my engines, my car engines, and well, I don't anymore. I don't drag race anymore, but that's what we use for cleaning a lot of times. And it works. It's good stuff if you can get the full strength stuff. This crap that you buy at AutoZone or the little car places like that, don't even waste your money. There's not enough cleaner in it to do anything. It's so diluted. If you look at it and it looks like you can see through it, it's not full strength.
All right.
The simple real purple is so purple. You go looking through the bottle, you can see light through it, but you can't read anything through it. But
before I got this aircraft stripper, I tried the ultrasonic cleaner by itself, but there was just too much varnish on the motor.
Yeah, well, that stuff there ought to do it.
But
that stuff there ought to do it.
With the aircraft stripper, it worked pretty well, and then I just finished up with ultrasonic cleaner to get all the stripper off.
Yeah, well, I do about 2 or 3. I do 2 or 3 applications usually. But like I said, just pour an ounce or so in a little aluminum cup and use toothbrush and just brush it on there and let it sit for half hour, 45 minutes. Not really, about 15, 20 minutes. I'm not 30 minutes patient. And wash it off and clean it off real good. And then if you need to do it again, just dab a little bit more on there, wait another 15 minutes and wash that off. But it usually cleans up pretty good. It sure does make your motor look better. And another thing, when you leave the field, get you a little bottle of 91 alcohol. And before you leave the field, squirt your motor down. Not when you just finish flying it. Now, you don't want to flash up your face. But spray your motor with that and wipe it down and take a little toothbrush or some kind of little brush and brush it off and then wipe it down with paper towel. And it won't get grungy like that.
Oh, okay.
Tom Looper's motors are I've flown with Tommy now 45 years. I've never seen Tommy have but one nasty motor. And the reason he had the one was because it wasn't his motor. The guy gave it to him, said, I can't make this motor run. So Tommy put it on his plane and ran it, figured out what was wrong, took it home, took it apart, cleaned it up, brought it back the next week looking like a new one, flew it, and it ran flawless. But he had as much crap built up in the Venturi and in the case as he did on the outside of the motor. He never did anything to it. He flew it and took it home and put it on the shelf. Castor oil is wonderful stuff. It's slicker. It's actually slicker than the. I'll probably get somebody wanting to argue with me, but I've seen the tests. I don't have copies of it. It's actually slicker than synthetic oil. It's as slick or slicker than synthetic oil while it's hot. But the first time you let it cool, it turns to jelly.
Oh, okay.
And after a few times, it just gets plumb hard, and then it's too late.
Oh, okay. Hey, guys, I want to say hi to the guys on the YouTube channel. Hi, Jack, Todd, Minnesota Mike. Thanks for coming in. And Minnesota Mike says that a product called Awesome from the dollar store works great. And as a matter of fact,
I've heard that.
We had a guy, Wally, used to come on here all the time, and Wally turned me on to Awesome. And that stuff is so caustic, or you have to use gloves.
Yeah.
But that stuff does work.
I use level all of it.
I have one. I just took it apart, soaked it in that awesome overnight. Took it, like you said, just took a brush, brushed all the gunk off of it, and rinsed it down with rubbing alcohol. Put it back together, lubed it up good, and looked brand new.
Yeah, it works. There's several products out there.
Awesome.
We just have to keep quiet what we're using, because as soon as the FDA finds out what we're using, something that works, they'll take it off the market.
I know. They obviously must be trolling us.
They must be.
That one product by Don, a power dissolver, that works fantastic, but you can't find it.
No,
unless you're willing to buy a case of like 6 or 12 of them or something. But
yeah,
that stuff works really good.
Yeah, it does work good, but like you say, the only way I found to buy it is online, and I can't afford it. It's too darn expensive by a case at a time.
Yeah.
Trying, I'm telling you one thing, that thing ought to shine like a new penny.
Yeah, he definitely has that technique down.
Have you put any Gorham silver polish on it yet?
I don't have it.
You don't have any?
No.
I ought to send you some.
How much do you have? Do you have enough to send me some? I've never seen it.
I've got a half a tub, but a half of one container. That's what Wendy always used to use.
I know.
That's what Wendy always used to use, and it works.
Yeah,
but there's plenty of other stuff out there that works just as good.
Okay.
There's a lot of other stuff out there that works just as good. I did a side-by-side test with Gorham's and Brasso. Somebody suggested Brasso. Don't ask me. So I tried it. Gorham's, Brasso, McGuire's, and there was another one. I'll have to go look and see what it was. I can't remember. I've still got the piece of wood downstairs that I did it on. Just primed the whole thing and then painted the whole thing and then just marked it off with tape and did one section with each product. And they're all pretty comparable. I didn't like the Brasso, but Brasso's got some stuff in it that'll scratch. But the other three, all of the high quality car finish, scratch removers, swirl removers, whatever they want to call them, or the silver polishes.
We use Neverdol in the Navy.
Yeah, that works too, but that's hard to get now, and it's expensive.
We got it for free in the Navy, so I didn't care.
Yeah.
But we had to polish every damn thing with it.
Oh, it's like the Air Force, man. You only need two tools: WD-40 and duct tape. If it don't move and it's supposed to, WD-40 that sucker. If it moves and ain't supposed to, duct tape it.
Yep.
Is this smooth enough, guys?
Man, that is slick.
Hang on,
Trey, I want to get my wing that slick.
Wow, that looks really good, Trey.
Man, that's beautiful.
Now, what grade are you up to now? Or are you past sandpaper?
Oh, he's past sandpaper, looks like.
Yeah, I'm buffing it out now.
Sir, you do good work for a sane person. Good
Sane
gracious.
person?
Same.
Yeah. Yeah, you ain't as crazy as some of us. Oh, now you crazy laying that on there. Don't scratch it after all that work. Man, that thing's pretty. That is slick.
I'm still, I just started to, last time I worked on it was when I was with you guys here.
Yeah.
And I said I'm going to do something over the weekend, and that kind of fell through. And just now, I just finished sending it with 3,000, and now I'm buffing it, and I'm on this section here right now, so taking my sweet little time and just.
Well, that's the way to do it. I tell you what, we used to do whole cars like that when we were getting ready for car shows.
Ooh.
Put the car in the basement. I'm serious. We put the car in the basement and spend a week just trying to polish it up. And then you get ready to take it to the car show, and invariably you'd have to load it in the trailer to take it. The darn thing it'd be raining or something. You're sitting there, all that work for nothing. We're going to buff it again when we get there. But the way it went.
It's a mess up.
Yeah, well, anybody that put $250,000 in a car, that all they're going to do and all that car ever did ever did for 30 years. All he ever did with it, roll it out of the garage, roll it into the trailer, take it to the car show, roll it out of the trailer, put it inside. And if they wouldn't give him a spot inside, he wouldn't take the darn thing. I don't think that motor would run more than 3 minutes at a time. I never heard it run more than that.
Wow.
But it was one gorgeous car. But that big engine and blower and all that crap sitting on it, it looked good and it sounded great. But I don't think it would run more than 3 minutes.
Why is that?
It never did. Trying it. That's all it ever did. He'd crank it up, take it out of the basement, put it in the trailer, take it out of the trailer, put it inside. That's as far as it ever ran.
Oh, just drive it a little bit.
I would have to if I had it. But this thing had pinstriping on the frame and in the wheel wells. It was an $85,000 truck when he bought it, and I think when he sold it for $160 something. But it was gorgeous. But what's the use if you can't drive it? I mean, if I can't at least take it around the block, I don't want it. I love a Ford GT, but if I'm not going to drive it, I don't need it. I don't need something else to store.
I see that. Yeah, you know what I don't understand either? People that build those giant-sized planes. I'm talking 6-meter wingspan, some humongous beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Just build a plane you can fly with. Then
yeah,
it's cheaper. Yeah. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those larger RC jets, they're more expensive than a kit for a SD1, for example.
Yeah.
SD1, it's a low-wing dihedral plane with single motor, and it flies beautiful. Get in a plane, go or build a Cree or something like that. I'm just like, give me a break.
Those RC bombers got $4,000 or $5,000 engines on them.
Yeah,
they got $20,000 worth. Yeah, $20,000 worth of engines.
Yeah,
Bob Violet came to the Nationals about 7 or 8 years ago. I can't remember the last time I went, but anyway, the last time that I went, Bob Violet was there with his trailer. So help me, I asked him how much one of his planes cost. He said he figured it was about between $15,000 and $25,000. That's a $10,000 leeway. Anyway, he had 4 guys that traveled with him, 4 that were the mechanics for a model airplane. It had a real jet. It had 2 real jet engines in it. I mean, they're real turbofan engines. Little when it cranked up, it sounded. I'm familiar with the F-15, and this thing sounded real. But that was the darndest thing I'd ever seen. But $15,000 to $25,000, and you can't even tell me how much you got in it. But you got 4 guys that come with you just to maintain one model airplane.
Wow.
Somebody got too much money. No, but think about it. It's an RC plane. I would rather have a plane. If I had the money, I'd build a plane that I can fly with.
Yeah.
That would be my number one option. If I had the money, I had to choose between spending it on an RC model and spending on a real plane I can fly with. I wouldn't think twice.
No, I'd go with real one.
I'll go real too.
I got a buddy that's trying to get everything together to get. He's building. I wanted him to build an RV4, but he's ordered an RV12 kit and asked would I help him put it together. I said, well, let's see. We built a BD5 30 years ago. We built a RV4 10 years ago. Yeah, I guess I'm in for a 12. Let's go. But I don't do that much. I go over and give him moral support.
That's a nice airplane, the RV-12.
Yeah. It is. It really is. I like the aerobatics of the RV4, but he's still got the 4, and it's got he's got the larger motor in it. It's nice, but the big thing about the 12, it's got the glass cockpit now. So
what was the name of that plane? It's made in South Africa. It's a kit, or you can buy it pre-made.
Oh, you're talking about
it's a 4-seat aircraft, and it's
there was one in Oshkosh.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it, but it looked like it was an interesting plane. Not Kit Fox.
No, Kit Fox. That's a low wing, high performance ultralight. They call it an ultralight, but I'm not sure if it's an ultralight, but it's called experimental. Has
Yeah, it supposedly weighs under 1,200 pounds or something.
Yeah, it's super light, but
I
and
can't
it
remember what
goes.
they call it. That thing will loop. It's
Yeah,
aerobatic.
yeah, I know. Yeah, and it's
That
super
that
nice,
was
slick, fast. Then you can
yeah.
go places with it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it runs on a road tax,
Yeah.
5 liters per hour fuel
Yeah.
consumption, some crazy amount like this, like 5 liters an hour or 5 gallons an hour, maybe
I think
five
Is it a
gallons.
I think it
composite?
was. I thought it was 4.5 gallons an hour. But you're probably right. But
Composite airplane?
No, this is not composite. It's a classic construction with rivets and sheeting and stuff like that. It's
Yeah, but see, the ultralight crowd and all has finally learned that if you take a plane that's all tubing and now you encase it in something, it becomes a whole lot faster, a whole lot more efficient, and flies a whole lot better.
Yeah.
You know, that's we learned a long time ago in bicycles. Bicycles now, recumbent bicycles. There was a guy came to one of our races, and we all thought he was crazy. He's riding a lay-down bicycle or a recumbent bicycle, and he's got a curtain around him. That's what it looked like, a blame curtain. He took off down the road, and none of us keep up with him. If he hadn't had a flat tire, it'd have been over, because this thing was just so much faster. So I started checking into aerodynamics, and it's the same thing whether it's a bicycle, an airplane, or what. A NASA test that I saw 30 years ago. If you take a 1-inch rod and stick it up in the air, pass air over it, and then you take that same rod and you take a 4-inch rod and put right beside it, and you airfoil the 4-inch rod. Just put foam around it or fiberglass or whatever. The 4-inch rod will have the same wind drag as the 1-inch rod. Well, it's the same thing on a full-size airplane. Enclose the darn thing, you just became 4 times as efficient. That's what the South Africans figured out, and it works.
Not only them. I mean, this there's another one, an ultralight made in Sweden. It's called Raisin or Ryzen, something like that. 300 kilometers per hour, 315 or something like that. Some insane amount of spin, and it does it on a Rotax motor with 100. Like 80 or 100 horsepower, something like that.
Yeah, they had to rewrite the rules to allow that plane. It literally rewrote the book.
On what? On ultralights?
Yeah, we got whole new. They're just becoming more efficient. They've all discovered that you can enclose these things. I mean, they were all like the backyard flyer or the. No,
this looks like a real plane.
No, I mean, it's what I'm talking about. Backyard flyer is a real plane. You take the wing and take the ailerons loose and take 2 bolts loose, I think, and swing the wing around where it goes the length of the plane and put it in the trailer. That's how he gets to the show and back. But if he were to enclose that thing, I'm wondering how much more efficient it would be, because it's all just tubes hanging out in the wind.
I'm sure it would be a lot more efficient, you know.
Yeah, I am too.
There's a whole new industry on ultralight planes that are very, very efficient with flower flaps. What they do, they tuck the flaps inside and they clean up the airfoil, and the airfoil is very nicely made. And they just advance the throttle and they move. They are moving. I mean, they are moving easily in a 200 miles per hour range.
That's what I mean. They had to rewrite the rules. They had to rewrite the rules and the FAA regulations and the EAA regulations too. Because they were creating a new category. They were so much faster because, you know, there were speed limits, there was weight limits, there was power limits. That's why everybody's saying, why does everybody use a Rotax? It's not because it's the only motor. It's just it's the one that fits the criteria for the class. So this thing they got some neat stuff out there now, buddy. I'm telling you,
it's crazy fast. Yeah, I would like to have one of those.
I would too.
How long did it take to build the RV4 start to finish?
It took us about 4 years.
That's 4 years. Fast. That's good for that one.
Well, there was 6 of us. Working on this thing.
Oh, so, you took your sweet little time on that thing.
Well, you got to remember, this was after work.
That's
Oh, yeah.
pretty fast.
This was after work. This was after work with unskilled labor. 2 of us were modelers. 2 of them had never, I don't think they'd ever held a rivet gun in their life. And we managed to get something that the first time we put it in a trailer, took it to the airport and got it spec'd, got them to check it out. It passed, and they flew it that day. But the same day, a guy showed up with a plane that was done with peel and ply.
Mm-hmm.
And the inspector said something to the guy about peel and ply. He says, "Peel and ply? What are you talking about, peel and ply?" Inspector went over and hit the side of the airplane, and a piece of the wood popped out. He had put this thing together and never pulled the peel and ply apart.
Oh,
Nothing was sealed. He had a $60,000 piece of junk. Couldn't do anything with it.
Wow.
Said it cannot be certified. You fly it as a death trap.
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. A while ago, somebody showed me the Crickery, and somebody put 2 jet engines on it.
Oh, Lord.
And it was flying it like that. But it was like RC motors.
Yeah.
Perhaps the biggest RC motors, jet engines that you can put on.
You talking about that wing-looking thing, black wing-looking thing? They had jet model motors on it.
No.
And took off and flew it all over the
The Crickery has 2 engines that are mounted above each side of the wing.
Oh, that thing. Okay. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, there's 2 chainsaw
wild.
motors, and actually it was originally built by an RC enthusiast, right?
Yeah.
6-meter wingspan, 2 chainsaw motors in the front, and that thing just looks like a hood to fly. You know, I see it doing loops and barrel rolls and stuff like that.
Oh, Lord.
And this guy was doing on those jet engines was pushing about 180 with it. And on one motor was doing about 110. I said, what if you took that same plane, then you fly it at higher altitudes, you know, where the air is thinner.
Yeah.
Now you can really move, right?
Yeah, but you gotta breathe.
And I said, wait a second. Look at the design of the plane. It looks like a Junkers dive bombers, you know, with the ailerons that stick below the wing, and there's no
That's the style now.
there's no streamlining to it. It's just a flying box, basically. And if you streamline it, if you just streamline the thing with the same power plant on it, it probably is pushing over 200 easy. And now you climb at altitude where the air is five times thinner. I mean, you can probably just go, you know, 600-700 miles per hour, you know, at the high altitudes.
Yeah, but now you got to worry about a breathing system and all that, and de-icers and all that crap. So.
Yeah. But that kind of got me started, you know. That kind of got me started. I was thinking about just building like an ultralight kind of category, like this motorized things. But with a twin jet engine on it and fly high altitude and really book.
Wow.
Really move.
That'd be wild.
Now, the ultralight, you're only allowed to fly so high, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that now. So the RVs, we're just a regular airplane, so I don't know.
It's a weight restriction, fuel capacity restriction, and
Instrumentations too, isn't it?
What's that?
Doesn't instrumentation have a part to do with it?
No, it's got
I don't think
instruments.
so.
Yeah.
But it's hard if you put too much electronics and too much weight in there. You can't meet the weight restriction. So
originally you had to be able to run and hand launch this thing. That was one of the original rules in ultralight. It had to be able to be foot launched. Now I've seen one of them do it with 3 people, but it had to be able to be foot launched. So the guy, go ahead.
It falls under Part 103 of the FAA regulations.
Is that the Flintstone takeoff?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Somebody decided to challenge the book, and they took a J3 Cub, and 6 guys at the airport picked this thing up, started running with it, and they took off. And they said, "Okay, it qualifies as an ultralight. We hand launched it." Wow. The FAA didn't buy it. No sense of humor. No sense of humor. But you know,
one year at Oshkosh, they built an RV-12 just that week during the week of Oshkosh.
Good
and
Lord.
I was assigned as one of the builders. I helped pull a few rivets.
How many people built this thing to build it in a week?
Probably several thousand.
Oh Lord. Okay. Okay, I can believe that. Wow.
Well, I've seen something similar with a small crew of kids from a high school.
Yeah.
The guy, the plane in South Africa, Sling, I think it's Sling. Yeah, Sling is the name of the plane. Was a Sling 2 or a Sling 4. And those kids, you know, with just some guidance, they built the whole plane, I think, in 2 weeks or so.
Oh my gosh.
And but you know, there was 8 hours shifts, and the only thing they didn't do is the wiring and putting the motor on. But the rest, they built the airframe and everything else. I was like, holy smokes, this is pretty awesome.
That is
Yes,
awesome.
it was Sling 2. Yeah, yeah.
That's neat.
Wouldn't it be nice to have one of?
It'd be nice to have one. You're right.
Gosh, they call it the 1 week wonder.
Wow. That's pretty
I think
neat.
they did that 2 different years where they built an airplane in 1 week. The first one was a Zenith kit, and then the last one was the RV-12.
They had one year that it's been 1990s, I guess. It might have been 2000, but it was back their ways. And they put 4 guys put a plane together from a kit in a week, but it was a fiberglass kit, and they basically put units together. I thought that was awesome, but now they're putting airplanes together that they really have to put the airplane together, and doing that in a week. That is awesome.
There is a company here in Georgia, in South Georgia, that have a new plane. It's all composites. Basically, it's like what you said. You just put it together and you call it a day. And it's very inexpensive. I think it's 28 grand for the plane and the motor. I think they are just trying to introduce this and get them sold.
That's a steal.
For now. Yeah, it is a steal. For that, you know. And that thing is nice. I mean, just the motor uses a big motor, and it's super fast. It's fast, roomy. You know, it's a 2-seater airplane.
That'd be neat. We've got a company here in North Wilkesboro that builds the XR2, and that is if you ever get a chance to come up and go to that place and just spend 4 hours and go through it and watch. We went to go fishing at the lake real close to there, and the lake was, you're going to love this, the lake was flooded. We couldn't get in the parking lot. It was the parking lot, the water was all the way up in the parking lot. So we went to the XR2 plant, and the guy says, sure, come on through. So we walked through and watched them build an XR2. Well, we watched them build pieces of an XR2, and then we saw one that was being finished up. It was amazing. I mean, I've been through Ranger Boat Plant, and that was fun. But this XR2, man, this thing is all carbon fiber. And when they finish with it, it is slick as that thing Trayan sanded on there, that mold he sanded on. It was just gorgeous. And then this guy goes out, and his job, he shows up from lunch, puts on his hat and his headphones, gets in this plane, and takes off and flies it and rings it out over the lake. That guy's got a lot of trust in those builders, I'm telling you. But
I'm a mentor for a high school robotics team, and 1 year we were up in Duluth, Minnesota, and that's where the SR-22 factory is that builds the SR-22 airplane, Cirrus aircraft.
Yeah.
And so we took the whole high school class, went on tour of the factory, Cirrus factory. Yeah. And that was pretty neat. That was the year they were first developing the jet airplane.
Oh, Lord.
And so we got to see them working on the prototypes of that jet airplane. I think it's over $1 million for that plane, though.
Yeah.
So,
that's not.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's not a very fast plane, the Cirrus jet.
Yeah, the Honda jet's built over in Greensboro. So one weekend decided I'd go over and take a look at that. They're not there on the weekends. They close the doors on Friday evening. But I've got a buddy that works there, and he asked me to come over one day. So I was going to Greensboro anyway. I stopped over and I didn't get to tour the place, but I got to look in on it. And that thing is weird the way it's put together. It's weird to see the motors on pylons coming off the back of the wing the way they do. It's just odd, but it flies nice. Don't know you're not leaving, are you?
I think
somebody
they
do.
Waving to John.
Yeah, I was waving to John, and Lynn's trying to come in also.
I'm trying. I'm having trouble getting my camera to work.
Would you look at this dude sitting down here on the bottom in the pawpaw shirt? Now I'm a doggone. He looks plumb comfortable. He's not sanding on a combat ship. He's not. This don't look right. This don't look right.
Something wrong with that guy.
Mike Wonky. How's it going, Mike?
But
Phil,
Mike,
it says pew pew. It's my
Pew,
kitty
pew.
cat shooting pistols, not pawpaw. It's pew 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 pew.
Oh, I was trying to give you
cat.
credit. But anyway, it's just.
I'm
it's
not
just
a
weird.
pawpaw or a papaw, man. I don't have any grandkids. Hell, I got a 9-year-old and 11-year-old kid, man.
Okay.
What was
That's what I
it?
was trying to figure out. Where is he? Well, I mean, you know, I got people that got second families, so
No,
I ain't going there.
I'm sitting in the living room. I figured I better stay out of the shop tonight because I don't know if y'all saw what happened to me Friday. I
No,
knocked
man.
a bottle of rubbing alcohol over on Emma's Chromebook and fried it. That's why I left so abruptly Friday. I was cleaning that engine, that double star, and I had left a bottle of rubbing alcohol open right next to the computer. And I went to grab something, and I tipped it over right on the keyboard, and it fried the whole dang thing. It worked the next day, like it was a convertible that flipped, into a tablet, and it worked as a tablet. But then the next day, it just crapped out completely. So
Man.
I get to replace my daughter's Chromebook that she hasn't even had for a year yet. It was a Christmas present last year. So
That hurts.
I'm on Sam's right now. So I figured I better play it safe and just stay in the house tonight.
I wish I didn't understand, but I do.
Yeah, I know.
do. So how are you, Santa?
I'm doing good. When you said pawpaws, I started thinking about the old song there about picking up pawpaws, putting them in the basket.
Oh no, my grandkids call me Pawpaw. That's whatever. I'm an old fart. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm an older fart.
Well, yeah.
Are we having a competition? Who's the oldest fart now?
Well,
No.
the one that stinks the worst, that's the oldest.
I ain't touching that one. I ain't touching that.
So how y'all doing?
Doing
Can
great.
I talk
Hope you
for a
are.
minute?
I'm doing good.
You know, I
Well,
had a little bad luck with my OS 35. It was running rich, and I went through fuel faster than normal, and it stopped at the top of a loop, and it came down, and it broke the prop, but it bent the needle valve. And
that's nothing.
That's all?
well,
That's
yeah, but
Pretty
I
fine.
find out, they don't make OS anymore, and getting parts isn't all that easy. Luckily, I had
Randy
an
Smith.
Yeah, Randy Smith. Randy Smith's got everything for OS 35 stunt.
No, I called him, and he's going to look through his stuff, but I'm supposed to call him back. But
You want
he
an
said there
original
might be
type?
another needle valve you could use, and then I found somebody on eBay that's got a bunch of parts. And
Yeah,
What are you trying to get? The original that looks like a spring, or what?
well, I don't know. Anyhow, that old Fox 35 I had an OS needle valve, and I put it in and I ran it. I didn't fly it, but it seems fine. But I guess the thing I got to think about in the future is, don't be buying engines that you can't find parts for.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it can be a
That's true.
challenge.
And that's becoming a problem with a whole lot of this stuff, is you just can't find it anymore. I mean, 2 years ago, well, I don't know about 2 years ago, 5 years ago, anything you wanted, you could go to half a dozen hobby shops in my area and find it. Now we've only got one in the state, in this part of the state. And you go 90 miles north or 90 miles south, and they'll tell you Anderson RC is the hobby shop. Well, they're 20 miles from here, but still, you just can't find this stuff anymore. I was trying to find an arming pin today, and I was looking all over the internet, and I happened to think they might have one at Anderson. I remember seeing some on the wall. He's got some, but not the version I need.
Why don't you make what I said? You know, it's like the super simple.
What's that?
I put an article on Stunt News about an arming pin, how I make them. And a baby can do that.
I'll have to read it. I haven't seen it yet. I've been using the one from ArmSafe. That's just a little plug, the little bitty plug, and it goes in the side. Very simple.
Yep. So what I do, it's very simple. I take a blade of let me turn this. It's too much light. Okay. So I take a blade of brass that's about a 1/16 of an inch thick by 1/4 of an inch wide. Okay.
Okay.
And you can find them at Micromark, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So you drill one hole, and then you drill another hole, and you tap the other hole, right? Now you put a screw and bolt the two places together, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now you drill 2 more holes, bang, bang, right?
Okay.
And it's again clearance and drill and tap on the other side. So I have 2 screws that pull this thing together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a center, you make a big clearance hole, and you drill and tap with like something else, right? So and you use a screw. So so you take this assembly, right? And which is like this, right? And you solder on one end the leads. You solder on this end these leads, and you put some shrink tubing on top of it.
Okay.
Kind of shrink tubing the whole thing. So now the 2 plates are being shrink tube, and you can bolt them together with some plastic screws, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now the contact is made by the screw in the center.
Put the screw in, that shorts everything out, puts it together.
Yep.
That's sharp, Tran.
And BattleBots use that, and they're bulletproof. They don't come loose. They don't do anything. They're vibration proof, everything. And they're very flat, very compact.
I'll have to try that tomorrow. That's a good idea.
Yeah, look in. I think it's an electric forum. I put it over there, and whatever people want to do. They want to have those bulky things that are unsightly, and then just have this big plug sticking outside the plane.
That's no joke.
Yeah,
that's no joke. You could put that inside the plane. Just have a hole there, and just put a screw in the side of the plane.
That's it. Yeah, that's all you have.
Go ahead.
Getting a dirty old man thinking is a terrible thing, Tran. I'll have to go build that tomorrow now. I'll have to go downstairs. That's all right. I'll get down there and build that tomorrow. That's a good idea. Thank you.
I used to make one for use in sailplanes, and mine worked okay in electric, but it didn't work worth a damn on IC because of the vibration. Yeah. But it used a double throw stereo plug in one of the mini pins.
Yeah.
Okay, and you hook. When you got it, so when the pin is in, it separates the contacts. So now, what you do is you put a little red yarn or streamer on that, and you plug that in. Your plane is disarmed, and you got a red thing there to remind you that it's disarmed.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you're ready to go, you pull it, makes the contact. You're armed. You're ready to go.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea too. I've seen guys do that, and it was it's like the old earphone jack for a transistor radio.
Yeah.
And you pull that thing out. Yeah. That's a good idea too.
The thing is, it will not stand vibration. So it works great on sailplanes.
Yeah.
And I haven't tried it on electric, but there's very little vibration in most electrics. So
you know what? That's a good idea. That's something to remember because I fly sailplanes too. But I tell you what's odd. I'll tell you one that'll surprise you, or it surprised me. Think about how many people you know that fly stunt that also fly sailplane.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. I don't fly. I can't fly the stuff like Trayan's got. Trayan's got carbon fiber that are gorgeous, but he had a, I don't know if he still makes it. I haven't thought to ask him. Do you still make that wooden discus launch glider?
No, I don't make it no more.
That thing was sweet. I didn't get one, but I saw them. I saw a couple of them, and they were real nice. That guy that he used to have a motorcycle shop. Is he still around? There's a friend of yours that used to own a motorcycle shop and flew those a lot.
Not that I know. Terry?
I can't think. It might have been Terry. He's an older fella.
Josh, Josh is something. It's he makes the DLG with Revolution's wings in it.
That might be it.
Yeah. It's Finn something. Joshua Finn, I think is his name.
Okay. I'd like to see him again. He's he sent me a Fox 40 motor that Tom Dixon had fixed. He neglected to give me his name and address. I owe him $20, and I don't know how to get in touch with him to get it to him. I've sent him letters 2 or 3 times to the return address that was on the paper and on the box, and it just comes back. So I don't know how to get to him. I mean, it's only $20, but it's $20. Yeah. Yeah,
so
that makes perfect sense.
Is J&H Aerospace is his company.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's
So-
neat.
so-
I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow.
So this is my arming switch, basically, right? So what you do, you drill the 440 holes, and this is clearance for the 440 holes, so you can bolt these 2 plates together on top of each other, right? Okay. And this is 832, and here you can put a screw on this side on 832, but this is clearance, okay? All right. So when the screw is over here, it's not touching any of this stuff here, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
Now, if you tighten up, bring the screw in, it's going to make contact between these 2 plates. So what you do, you use this area over here to solder the ends, and you put a shrink tubing over the whole thing. You use the soldering area over here, and you put a shrink tubing over this whole thing, so they're both insulated, right? Okay. And you just clear this area here of the insulation. So when you put the bolt in and you tighten up, it makes contact, right?
I like that, Trey, and that's as simple as you can get. And all you're going to have sticking out the side of the airplane is 1 screw. That's neat.
That's it.
Just take that and tighten it down, and you're ready to fly.
That's what I do. And all you need just half a turn. You don't have to really unscrew it. You just half a turn. It's on. That's it.
Is that what's on Revolution? I know it was simple because it didn't take you any time to arm it. That was pretty good.
Put it inside, just rotate it half a turn and get it tight, and now I have contact. I'm good to go. That's it.
You do things very neatly.
I just hate those big fat plugs sticking on the side of the plane.
Well, I do too. Beautiful airplane, and you got all that crap sticking out of it. And I was going to do an electric Vector, and Lord have mercy, he's got that big plug hanging out the side of it. Then he's got a pot hanging out the side of it to adjust the RPM. Then he's got the push button to start everything, and it's all on the outside. I thought, why in the heck, if he's going to do that, put it on the inside where it doesn't show.
The problem
outside where everybody sees it.
Sometimes the problem that you run into is that it's so the battery is so close to the walls of the plane, it's hard to place the switch anywhere. But this thing, like what I'm telling you, it's so flat. It's about not even it's about this thick. I mean, it's 3/16 of an inch thick at most.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very compact.
All you need is some nylon washers between the 2 blades, and then run a screw between them. So you
don't need any of that. You have the shrink tubing
the shrink tubing is what. Oh yeah, it would do it. Yeah, 2 layers of shrink tubing.
Yeah, and use the plastic. And use plastic screws to pull it together.
Now you've got even smaller. That's just cool. Okay, I'll have to do that now. Okay.
First time when I did this, I actually didn't use shrink tubing. I used a piece of G10 that was being sandwiched in between them. It was work as a spacer, right?
Yeah.
And I used plastic screws to bolt everything together, right?
I've got some of them too. That'll work.
So
that will work.
So whatever you have there, I mean, just like for me, it just took me like 15 minutes to make that thing. Just
you
so
sure
quick.
you're not an engineer?
He's a machinist. That's better.
I'm not trying.
I'm a lousy machinist.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I've seen your work.
I'm just a little machinist.
Guys, he's got his pins and his spinner. Just his spinner is as good as any I've ever seen. And then the parts that put the thing together. But if you look at his bell crank one time, you will be in awe. I'm telling you, because I'm not easy to impress. And the first time I saw that thing, I was mesmerized. I've wanted one ever since. So I'm telling you, he's quite a machinist.
Yeah, he is. I agree.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, anybody can make those parts, but it's the idea.
I can't. I don't have any way to make parts like that. Working with aluminum, man, if I could work with metal like that, I'd have a whole bunch of take-apart airplanes that would be like very nice.
Maybe I should make some of those take-apart features and then sell them, if you guys would be interested. But it's not worth my time sometimes.
I would. I'd like to have it. That's neat. But I want to be able to take the nose off, separate the thing where to put in the suitcase, and then take the two wings apart like the Revolution does. Put it not a suitcase, but a box. Because I've got a little small car and then I've got a pickup truck. And as you know, I like big airplanes, which means I've got to take the pickup truck. Well, Atlanta is 6 hours away in the truck that gets 15 miles to gallon. My little car gets 36 miles to gallon. So I would like to have something that comes apart. I can put in the back seat of the car and drive to Atlanta and fly and come home and not spend a fortune in gas. But
yeah.
Oh, it depends how much you want to bring with you. I mean,
well,
I can put my plane in the back seat and I call it a day. That's it.
Yeah, but see, I fly 4 events when I can, so I bring too much. I've got to start flying one event and trying to be serious with just one event, because trying to fly 4 events is getting hard. And now they've started flying half A too. So
they do.
Well, they do around here. They're starting to fly it here. Every one of our guys, the Golden Triad Model Masters, we're all building half A's. And it's just we took it on as a project. We all built Ringmaster 576s. We built Ringmasters. We built Ringmasters. Then we built the Ringmaster 576. Then we started on half A's. I'm building a Pinto. A Pinto 2. It's got a thicker wing than the original. Then I don't remember what Tommy's building a Tercel. Bill just passed, but he built a Tercel. Buddy Barbie built a Teosaki half A, and I can't remember what Terry's building. There's no keeping up with him.
Yeah,
there's just no keeping up with that guy. He's amazing.
Did I tell you that the first time a while ago they started to fly half A at the Nats, and they flew the whole pattern. Laps, 2 laps in between, everything. The whole pattern was being flown. The first time it was offered at the Nats, I flew at the Nats with my own design, and I won it. 505, and I put 505 points on the board with it.
505 points. I want to
with
see
a half
A. Wow, that's neat.
It was a little piece of jewelry. The fuselage was built up with 1/16 fuselage sides.
That's what the Pinto is.
And 164 plywood doublers inside of it, right? The wing was actually an I-beam wing, but it wasn't a true. It wasn't a true I-beam wing. It was just like a pseudo I-beam wing. What I did is that I took my beam and I put little notches where the ribs are gonna go.
Yeah.
So as I slide the ribs down, the notches were plenty deep, but the rib would not slide all the way down. And then I had 164 plywood doublers and a 1/16 wire that was being held just like in a Billy Woodward's I-beam wing construction of a plane. I mean, I was just step by step, but just half the size on everything. And flew it at the Nats, took first place, first time out with it. It was a gorgeous little piece of machinery. I mean, just that thing was just like.
What'd you do with it?
I think I lost it one day because I was flying through its own turbulence, and it just flipped it and it just bam. How'd they go again like that? Bam.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's hard to do, but I did that with a what's that thing called? Stunt fire. I don't know what it hit, but I was flying long level, and I went to pop up, and the front of the fuselage went up, and the rear of the fuselage didn't, and it just kind of hit the ground and became a whole lot of toothpicks. That plane's built like a big Gillis kit anyway, but I made a mess of it.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys. Are you guys familiar with the humbug?
Yeah, I have one.
There was a half A plane that was, I think, almost like a humbug, had like the twin boom of the wings and a big horizontal. What was the name of that thing? Because I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
Looked like a.
Yeah, I remember seeing one, but I don't remember what it was called.
They fly so well, because I remember that at the same contest when I lost my plane, I flew with that plane, and I really liked the way it flew. And it has no flaps, none of that stuff, But it was a very good flying plane.
Yeah, Bob Barron thought he was going to change stunt. He was going to come up with a plane that had no flaps, didn't have all those extra horns and all that stuff. Bob was a rebel without a cause, but he meant well, I think. But he was a little wild. He liked to fly super fast, and he said, "Well, if you fly fast enough, the judges can't count you down because they can't prove you did it wrong."
Yeah.
Sure I can. I judge a lot. Sure I can. If I don't like the shape, you don't get the points. So anyway,
I think Billy Ward was just flying super fast. Orest is flying fast at the Nats. I mean, they all fly pretty fast. I'm not sure if it's an advantage, because to me, the slower you can fly, the easier it gets, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like a 5.25 lap time, and that's what I strive for. But they were flying in the 4-second range, and I just can't keep up with that.
Did you guys ever ponder about having different setups on the same plane?
Oh yeah, we've done that. We've tried that. We did that with the Ringmasters. Mine was very. We had one guy come out with an elevator that, no joke, would go straight up and straight down.
Seen those.
And the plane, all he did was stall it. I mean, all you could do was stall it.
That's not what I'm talking about. Like the different setups, like CG position, because I'm thinking about just having a dual setup on my plane right now, one for windy weather and one for very calm weather.
Well, I do that in mine. I do that in my electric. If in windy weather, I move the battery further forward about 1/4 of an inch.
In windy weather? What?
Yeah. In windy weather, it makes it a little. No, you're right. In windy weather, I move it back. In the calm weather, I move it up a little bit. It slows it down a little bit, so you don't overdo it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about ballasting mine in calm weather and move the battery forward, and in windy weather take the weight off.
I wouldn't put weight in it. I just move the battery further forward. Yeah,
because it's going to track better and stuff like that, and be less touchy on. So this I'm going to try that pretty soon.
It works. I do that in my Nobler.
Yeah.
But my Nobler is so darn nose heavy right now. It's I don't have to do a whole lot of moving.
Yeah.
I gotta find some modeling clay. It used to be easy to find. Now I can't find it.
Yeah.
But
when I was at the
go ahead.
When I was at the Nats this year, prior to the Nats, I played with the battery position. I found the battery position where the plane was pretty happy in very turbulent air, and it was very happy with that. And then when I got to the Nats and the wind started to I was like, man, this is still kind of sluggish for my taste, right? I want to turn faster, right? And I moved the battery back like 3/4 of an inch or something like that, to regain that turning ability in the wind. But then in a calm weather was like kind of a little shaky as it was going through its own turbulence. But even though the plane doesn't make so much turbulence. I have very little deflection on my controls as I go. But still, it wasn't very happy with that. And
well, I don't know. I always have to. Every time I've gone up there, I have to retrim the airplane when I get there. I don't know why. They never fly the same in Muncie as they fly here.
Why? Because of the altitude?
I
It's
guess
about the
that's
same
it.
altitude, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I would think so, but I always have to retrim my handle every time I go up there. I have to give them more throw.
I'll tell you what, Joe, you let me fly your airplane, it'll never fly the same.
You're right. You're right. I've heard about you, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Very.
How are you, Steve?
Not too bad. I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
I'm going to cut the inside of this out to lighten it up and then put the stringers in it or whatever. How far do I need this? It's a profile.
It's for a profile?
Yeah.
Steve, let me ask you a stupid question. Do you really need the lighter tail?
This piece of wood weighs 1.57 ounces. It just weighs way too much.
Okay, so it's very hard wood.
Yep, really hard.
Why not? Yeah. All right. So yeah. Okay.
He's working with a baseball bat.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Basswood or balsa wood?
Huh?
Is that basswood or balsa wood?
It's supposed to be balsa wood, but I'm not real sure. It may be a half breed.
A hybrid, huh?
Yeah.
Hybrid wood. How about that?
Well, guys, I think polishing is done over here. And, and
nobody had an answer for me?
I would leave. I'd leave 2 inches anyway.
Okay, this is at 3. I figured 1.5 inches overall, and that'll give 1 3/4 inches.
Yeah,
Steve,
but where
the center section doesn't give you any extra strength, okay? All it does, it bridges across so you can put it inside of a fuselage, whatever it is. It's a profile. You need a profile thickness plus, say, another 1/4 inch so you can put something on it, like some kind of covering. The center section doesn't mean anything. It's just the sticks that go across from end to end. That's where your strength is. The center section is just in there for the ride.
Oh, I thought that that was where the most force was.
Steve,
there at the center or at the fuselage.
how wide is your control horn? It needs to be at least as wide as your control horn.
This is the stab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your control horn,
your
control horn is going to be.
Oh.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it should be at least as wide as your control horn.
Well, it really wasn't going to have a control horn in it.
Oh, so
you know, just a flash, you know, because it's the elevator is solid. I would on the elevator.
Okay, never mind.
Are those lines that you got inside of the leading and trailing edges? Is that your? Pull that up for a minute, would you?
Yeah, that's a 1/4 inch I measured out.
Okay, is that where you're going to cut it out at?
Yep.
That's pretty skinny.
Are you going to sheet it?
I wasn't going to.
Golly, I'd leave it 3/8 at least if you're not going to sheet it.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise you can get some, I mean, you know, you don't want it to do this garbage while you're flying.
Right.
Well, I was going to have them cross, you know, bracing in it or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's only 1/4 inch thick, isn't it?
Yep. That's 1/4.
Why didn't you just build it up with 3/8 by 1/4 sticks, leading edge and trailing edge, and put some weight just on that center section instead of wasting a whole piece of wood?
I don't know. I have it, and it ain't worth a shit for a piece of wood, so I'm gonna cut it up.
You could strip it and make yourself 6 stabs with that one piece.
Well, that or I could even make engine mounts out of it.
Steve,
Yeah.
what do you have around? I mean, do you have some foam in the house or something like that? Do you have a foam cutter, a hot wire cutter?
No.
Can you put a barrier over a piece of wire and stretch it out somehow?
Probably could.
Yeah, so it's not that difficult, right? So I'm thinking just make a flat sheet of foam and just plate it top and bottom with balsa wood, put a trailing edge, a leading edge, form it, and that's it. You have a elevator.
Yeah. I just figured I was going to try to use this because I had it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
It came with a kit. I mean, I have good 1/4-inch wood that 4-pound stuff I could make it out of, but I'm like, it's just a beat around airplane and
just cut some round holes in it. Yeah, just cut some round holes in it, stuff like that. But keep in mind, whatever the minimum and maximum thickness on the trailing edge and the leading edge, that's all the only thing that's going actually participating to anything. If it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You know what'll happen to you, Steve, is you'll get it all cut out and lightened up and that, and you'll find out you need to weight in the tail.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah, I kept it. Well, this is what if I ever get that damn Aerostar 40 to run is going on this thing. So there's not much weight going to hang up there in the front. That thing only weighs like 6 ounces. So that's why I want the tail as light as possible.
How long is your tail moment?
Maybe a foot. I don't know. Not very long.
It's not very long.
Wow.
If your engine's going to be mounted, say, to get a tank in there, it's going to be at least 8 inches in front of the leading edge for the motor and the tank.
Yeah, this is one of these super spiders, and
oh yeah, they are quick.
It's not a very big airplane.
Well, the point I'm trying to make, if you had an 8-inch nose and an 8-inch tail, your balancing would be the same that you got on the nose would balance your tail. But now you move your tail back another 4 inches, and you got your 12-inch tail moment. How much do you think you've got to have? Well, to balance. Well, it's going to be a little bit less. No, a little bit. Now you got me thinking. Anyway, there's a formula for figuring that, and I think I'm getting here, but I can't remember it right now.
4 to 1.
Yeah. Well, only thing I know is that the stab and the elevator together weighed over 3 ounces.
Good grief.
So I already cut out the elevator, and I was going to do that.
What we got here?
The reason is that I knew that 3 ounces hanging back on that tail, it was going to be tail heavy with a 6-ounce motor, sticking out that far for a nose.
I don't think it would be because you got the distance is 1/3 more on the distance, and you got a 6-ounce weight up front, not counting the tank and the fuel, and you're going to wind up. You're going to need to be able to balance. I think you balance probably just fine without doing anything more to that stab and elevator.
Well, I think the fuselage is made out of the same wood.
Well, that's certainly a factor, but I think go ahead and do it. I think you're going to wind up having to add tail weight to that.
Well, I didn't have, I don't have it painted. I don't have any covering on the wings, but I kind of just taped everything together, take the motor in, and try to find where I thought the balance point would be on the rib. I mean, on the spar.
Right.
And it's so damn tail heavy that if I'd let the nose go, it would do a complete flip before it hit the ground.
Did you have the tank on it?
No, I didn't have the tank on it, but I figured that, a little 3-ounce tank isn't going to weigh that much.
Do you have a set of hole saws, Steve?
Huh?
Do you have a set of hole saws?
Yeah, I do.
Because you can do something like what I did here on the vertical stabilizer.
Oh, okay.
My sailplanes used to look a lot like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So, and you can also, if you want, you can cheat. Just mount the elevator as is in a plane, and if you need to lighten up, lighten up. If you don't, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to do it, even if it's installed. It's a flat piece of something, it's just should be easy to get to it.
Just keep drilling holes in it till it balances, huh?
That's it.
I didn't say that.
There's someone who'd like to speak. Who was who wants to speak?
Hey, Steve, I'll make a deal with you though. You flying my airplane would make me very nervous. But anytime Samantha wants to,
she can fly it. All right.
Yeah, she can fly it.
Yeah, that Mike.
I've watched that child fly, and she is fearless.
Say what he wants to say.
I fly Samantha's airplanes sometimes, but it's just to get lap time in. I can fly straight and level. That isn't a problem. But I don't do anything with them.
Oh, okay.
Why is that? Too touchy or?
Huh?
Is that too hot?
Let Mike talk.
I have some kind of magnetic force in my body that sucks my airplane to the ground.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's the reason I told him. I'd be nervous with him flying my airplane. But if his daughter wants to fly it, his daughter's Samantha, and if she wants to fly one of my planes, I'll be more than happy to let her fly it.
Man.
She can fly.
Well,
I've heard stories of Steve. Steve's told stories of his own flying one night, and he was talking about he makes about 3 laps, and then there's a loud sound. So I said, well, maybe not.
I can do more than 3 laps. It's just I can't do usually more than 3 loops.
Oh,
That's because gravity sucks.
Yes, I think my plane slows down way too much on that last loop, and the gravity sucks it right in the ground.
Let Mike
have a chance to get in. Mike wants to say a word.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I just wanted to show that I found you guys all commented on that airplane fan that I have in my garage.
Yeah.
And there is one for sale, brand new in the box, and that's about 20 minutes from where I live.
Wow. Wow. $75.
That's a Hunter?
Yeah, Hunter fan. That's a good brand.
That is a good brand. I've got them all through my house.
Yeah, that's
nice.
I have one in my shop on my ceiling, and you guys are always commenting on it.
Yeah, I love it. It's a good looking fan.
So
and he wants how much
just
for
wanted to show it. $75
right now.
That's cheap. That is cheap. I'd have to see about that one myself. I don't know where I'd put it though. I've got fans everywhere. Phew. Anyway.
All right. By the way, you guys, I want to interrupt. On YouTube, I think this is for you, Phil. He says Joshua Flynn is in Facebook. You can find him on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never been on Facebook in my life, but it looks like I'm going to have to sign up and get on it. I heard so many horror stories about it that I just never got on it, but looks like I'm going to have to because that's the way you find anything nowadays.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that. Tell him thank you. I appreciate that. That's very neat. I'll have to. Joshua Flynn is on Facebook.
Minnesota Mike Phillips says thank you.
On Facebook. I have to write everything
Hey,
down.
Phil, whatever you do, just don't friend them girls that send you friend requests all the time.
Woohoo! Yeah.
If your wife ever sees it.
I heard about that. Well, I'm telling you.
I always just delete it, but it's like, why would some 21-year-old want to be friends with me?
For all your money.
Sugar, they think you got money. Sugar daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a call today from Maryland that says that the IRS has locked down my Social Security number and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. I know. They do it by phone, right? They usually do it by mail, not by phone call.
Yeah, if they do, if you get one by phone, just act like you didn't see it. Forget it.
Yeah, I did get and I thought it was kind of a scam, but I got like 5 deals from the government for the census.
Mm-hmm.
And I called and gave them this big ass long number, and they said it was all taken care of, that there wasn't a problem. And I guess what happened is that I filled out the census, and I put in there that Samantha was in college, and she lived in a dorm, whatever, apartment. And I guess the census people came there and took the census. Well, then we had the same name, same social security number, living at 2 different places, but I guess they got it figured out.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, the one I particularly like is these bank companies, supposedly bank people that call you. Oh, your number's been selected since you paid your bills on time and all this nonsense. We're going to lower your credit card. I forgot what you call it, interest rate to 0% till the 17th of next June. Oh, that's cool. It says all we need is your credit card number. Yeah, right. Okay. Don't fall for that crap. They don't. If they going to give you something, it's the bank. They already got all that information. Don't anybody fall for that junk.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm
anyway
making some progress, you guys, on my plane.
Nah.
Looks like you molded something.
I actually molded something. I'm gonna unwrap it like Christmas tomorrow. This is
You should have had it ready for tonight, and we could all watch.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna let it dry another day. But this is the I think this one is the top lock. Of course, it has a spine to make it stiff. But I wrapped I molded the top lock and the bottom lock. So my first time doing it. I had my wife. She helped me. Let me click on
Pull it down. Hold it down. That's cool.
Yeah,
You made a mummy plane.
Yeah, she helped me with this.
That is cool. You did very well.
I'm really excited. It's the first time I'm doing this, and so I'm finally making some progress.
Well,
I
Charles,
didn't have any wood. Yeah.
You better be nice to your wife for another 24 hours, Charles, because you're out of ace bandages.
As a matter of fact, these are her ace bandages, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I thought I had some ace bandages. What I had was some sterilized gauze. And so I go, do you have the ace bandage, or I'm going to go to the store? She goes, she had 2 of them. So I was able to wrap the this block. I mean, this is a Mobuck and the other Mobuck.
Well, I tell you what, when you the next time you wear out a set of sheets, bed sheets, cut them in 2-inch strips and roll them up.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what I use. Al Raby told me about that. The difference is when you unwrap that, it's got big grain in the cloth, and you'll have some grain in the wood that you'll sand out. It ain't no big deal. It's not a problem.
Right.
It's just that the sheet material won't have it.
Wow.
Either way works. Al Raby told me that trick.
Hey, Charles, well, make sure you cut them off on your wife's side of the bed.
Charles, I have a question for you.
Yes, Tom.
When you mold it, did you mold 2 sheets or a single one?
A single sheet.
They kind of looks like a starving horse in time because it wants to return to its flat, position. If you laminate 2 pieces of 1/16 with some Elmer wood glue between them, that holds its shape. And not only that, it's just in time it's going to look beautiful for a life of a plane, and it's not a whole lot heavier. Think about that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was going to put some Z-epoxy on the inside of the shell.
You just make it heavier.
And then wipe it out. It's going to be there just for a little bit, and then wipe the majority of it off.
Yeah,
and then my formers, and then that'll give a hard surface for the formers to go against. And so you shouldn't have the shouldn't get the Star Wars look.
All right.
Yeah, I want to try. I don't know if you guys know Jeff Trexler.
I heard his name.
I've heard of it.
He made a mold for a fuselage, 2 halves, and it has a keel in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he molds it, he molds the 16th or whatever at a 45-degree angle to itself,
Mm-hmm.
and then glues it all up. And you can't believe how stiff that is with the grains going.
You talking about 2 layers of it, Steve? One over top. You talking about two layers of wood and
yeah,
and
like try and set the 16th, right? And he glues them all. It looks funny how he has them all glued up and cut, but then he just molds it over them 2 halves, and then that has the ribs, or I don't know what you call them in the insides to hold it.
Formers.
And then the formers fit into that keel.
Yeah.
So it's completely hollow in the center. But it's pretty cool how he did it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's,
there's a lot of new ways coming up to do this stuff, but that's neat.
But maybe he's not doing exactly 45 degrees, because the more angle you have, the more the grain is not parallel to the form of the block, right?
Yeah.
So if your block is like this, if the grain doesn't go in this direction, it's very hard to mold. The more angle you put to it, it's like 90 degrees is the worst thing you can do. So probably he's doing a little bit of that, overlapping, but I really doubt it's 45 degrees unless you use some 1/32 mold or something like that. I think
maybe
mold, you can do
that might be what he did, is use 1/32 and the whole thing 16. Maybe that's how it come out. I'm not sure. It's neat. Yeah. It's neat how he did it and how strong it is.
Yeah,
that's probably what he did. But it's probably also molded it at like 33 degrees. It's probably closer to what he actually molded it. Because Trion's right. You go 45 degrees and it'll split.
It's not going to mold. Yeah, it's going to be a pain in the ass. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, if you keep the grain in a direction of the flow of the fuselage and you put 2 layers of 1/16, making a 1/8 inch of the worth of a skin, which you do anyways on the sides of the fuselage, of a typical fuselage, I think that's more than enough, and it holds its shape, because when you do 2 layers and you do this, you see that one is shorter, one is longer.
Right.
Right. They start equal, like this, but when you mold them, they and because they are stuck on top of each other, they're gonna hold that shape. You don't really need any ribs inside of it anymore. So basically, if you can put the 2 shells together and make the cutouts for the wings, and when you glue the wing inside, the wing is work as a spacer from squishing, right? Mm-hmm. And the elevator works as a spacer and stops it from squishing. And basically, that's all you need. Those 2 side shells that go top to bottom, and you just combine them. That's it. What I did in the past is to do this, like I said, I put it in the bathtub, I let it soak, I pick it up and stick it to the side of the bathtub. I took some Aero-modeling wood glue in my hand and smear it over. I mean, everything's super wet, right? So you don't put a lot of glue in it. The glue is very little glue because it's so diluted at this point.
Right.
And you take the second piece from the bathtub and go slap it on top of it, or overlap it on the other side, and then you roll it over. Done. That's it. And so you have
Sparky does it.
So where you have the nose, so the nose kind of goes compound surface or like that. Yeah, what you want to do? Take an X-Acto knife and just slice it every half inch. And as you put, you start on the easy side, right? Go towards the nose, and then now as you approach the nose, you kind of hold them together. Just go a little bit more, and you can even. And that worked for me great, So you don't add a lot of weight. All of that water evaporates. It's very little glue, and I think it's a lot lighter than start to add the whatever on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
The epoxy kind of
epoxy.
Yeah. The other thing, he used Gorilla Glue.
Oh God, that's even worse. That stuff is nasty heavy, and it migrates. If you ever put that stuff on foam rubber, Teosaki wing is built with a foam leading edge, and it has spruce spars in it, top and bottom, and a spruce leading edge spar in it. That spruce spar, the two spruce spars, you put them in it, and you can see where that Gorilla Glue has migrated 3/4 of an inch out. You'll see it popping out of the foam over here. That Gorilla Glue's nasty stuff. It's heavy, and it just migrates and does weird things.
Yeah.
Well, I won't use it then. I haven't tried it, so that's what me.
I used it once. My Tio was built that way, but I won't do it again. Okay.
I got a question before I get off here. Phil.
Yes, sir.
Your Nobler, is it a Brodak?
No, I have a Brodak Nobler, but the one that I'm flying is a Top Flight ARF kit.
Okay, what's the? Well, yeah, that's what I meant. The Top Flight. I don't know if this was a Brodak or a Top Flight, but what's the CG on it? Do you know?
The what? What's the CG? 2.5 inches back from the leading edge of the wing at the root.
At the root, okay.
So you go to what I did. If you look on mine, look at pictures of mine. There's a piece of half-inch square of masking tape on each side, and then there's a little bar drawn on it. And what I do, I went through one of those fancy CG machines, which you can no longer get parts for. And I took a piece of pine block, and I put 2 old-fashioned pencils up out of it with good erasers on it. With erasers on it. And I went and got those erasers like when we were kids. We always added that are kind of pie-shaped.
Right.
Yeah. You want as little as small a surface area as you can get at the surface. Then just take the plane, lay it upside down, and I lay it upside down on those marks I'm talking about that are 2.5 inches back, and just see where it sets. And mine just sits there. That thing will sit there all night.
Okay. Half from the leading edge at the root.
Yes, sir. 2.5 inches back, and it'll fly fine. But if it's a little tail heavy, it's going to turn quick. And if it's nose heavy, that model gets nose heavy real quick, and it really doesn't fly that well if it's nose heavy. You pretty much need it. I fly a little tail. I tend to fly a little tail heavy. People that flew
I kind of walk tail heavy, so that don't matter.
Yeah, I fly a little tail heavy normally. My people that flew my first impact, kept thinking, why do you fly so tail heavy? I said, because that's the way Paul Walker told me to set it up. But I mean, she would turn. Wind, rain, it didn't matter. It would turn. But that's a good airplane. That Nobler, if you ever decide to go electric, that's a real good one to electrify. It's got a skinny wing. It's heavy.
That's what I'm putting on it.
Yeah, oh, okay. What is that? I can't 40. See. It's a 40. You'll like it. That's what was on the one I flew for several years.
You put that in there and it won't be tail heavy, guaranteed.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, I get that motor right there. Now people will argue with you about it, but Bill Mendakis had done the checking up on it and saw tape on it. What they did to get the 46 was board that motor.
Yeah.
So that motor is actually
the same.
Yeah, that motor is actually heavier than a 46, and it drinks more fuel than a 46. But they're great motors. I used one in competition for 2 years, and I've had a good time with mine. I'll tell you what, though, that sucker came from, it didn't go straight overhead because I had a prop strike, and when I pulled up, the lines were slacking. And it went all the way to the other side and went straight in, kabam. The motor still runs. The plane was destroyed, but the motor still runs.
Good.
So they're good motors.
Yeah. Okay.
They've gotten a really bad rep, but they're great motors.
Yeah, they have got a bad rap. I heard so much about it, I didn't think to buy one.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The only thing I did to mine, I changed the Venturi. I put a Super Tiger needle valve in it, and I put 2. I think, now don't hold me to this, it's not gospel, but I think I put 2 extra head gaskets in it. It was, if you fly it and you hear it knocking, you hear anything that sounds like it's knocking, throw another head gasket in it. You're over compressing it. Throw another head gasket in, because it will take the rod out of it, and you can't get them anymore. So take care of your motor. It's a great motor if you take care of it.
All right. Appreciate it. Well, guys, I'm out of here. I got my medicines kicking in. I'm getting tired.
All right.
Oh, my goodness. You take care of yourself. Yes, sir.
Take it easy, Ed. Thanks for coming in.
All right, man. See y'all later.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Tryon, I muted your mic, so he was making a lot of noise putting in the pins and stuff. But you're welcome to still talk to us when you unmute your mic. Hey, Ed. One Ed drops off, another Ed comes on in. What's going on with that?
Hey, fellow Gister.
Oh,
this is another Ed. So we just lost the other.
Look at that. Look at that. That's the way it fits. That's pretty cool. Tryon does some really pretty work.
How you been, Ed?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. I finally wrapped my first sheeted balsa wood around a mold buck I made. So I was just showing that about 10 minutes ago. Did you see
I got
that?
a question to you guys.
Sure.
When you're trimming out, what kind of tape do you guys use? I've been having trouble with all kinds of tape, either leaks through or it sticks and I can't get it up. And I end up having to sand things off and start again. And I've tried some of the plastic Mahler tape that's supposed to be, leak proof, but I don't know. It didn't seem to be working either. So
I use 3M. I go to the body shop and get it. Quarter inch.
Is it? It's body shop thing or tape, or is it?
It's automotive tape. It's what they use on cars. It's what they use on cars. And if you need more than quarter inch, use the quarter inch and then go over it with a bigger piece of tape over a piece of paper.
Yeah, it's been a mess.
I always go with the quarter inch tape and then the blue 3M tape on top of that.
Yeah.
But the quarter inch is same kind of tape as you get at the body shops use.
Yeah, I got some 1/8 inch, and you can really make a nice tight line, but it's hard to stick your next masking tape down on it because it's so thin.
Yeah.
The body guys call it fine line tape.
Fine line, yeah.
Fine line.
When you go to take it up, when you go to peel your tape up, get your hair dryer. Don't get a heat gun. Get your hair dryer and set it on a setting that you can stand to.
Well, it has to be my wife because I got no hair.
Okay. All right.
Hey, I
Anyway,
feel you on that, Ed. I feel you on that one, man. I'm with you.
Get a hair. Oh Lord, what am I going to do with these guys? You guys are too many. Use a hair dryer and just get it warm. You don't have to heat it. Just get it warm and pull it back on itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pull it back on itself, real slow and easy, and just run the hair dryer as you're doing that. But go slow. The first time you go, you're going to pull the paint up. Okay. You got to just take it real slow and easy, an inch or so at a time, and just keep the hair dryer moving. You don't want to get it hot. You just want to get it warm, and peel it back, and it'll work. But like I say, you can't get in a hurry, and don't get it hot. If you get it hot, you'll bubble the paint, and if you pull too fast, you'll pull up a sheet of paint.
I always pull my tape within like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. Once I paint, if it's dry to the touch on the masking tape, I pull all my tape. That way it doesn't. You let it sit overnight, like you said, you got to warm it up because that glue sets somehow.
Well, I've got tape on a model downstairs that sat on it for 6 months before I got around to painting it. And when I painted it, I waited till the next day. So I used a heat gun and just pull it slow. But this is the same model that I've painted 3 times because the paint keeps pulling up. I don't know that I'll ever use Omni again. I'll use the better stuff next time. That Omni white just doesn't stick worth a flip.
Ed, I'm sorry, so go ahead, Phil.
That's a go. No, I'm done.
Hey, Ed, Wendy Yanowski, he used to seal the tape with clear dope, like a real thin line of clear dope to seal it so that it would seal it so the paint that you want on there can't bleed underneath the tape.
Okay, what happens if you want to pull the tape off though?
Nothing. You don't even know that. You can't tell that it was ever sealed with clear dope.
Okay.
The clear dope kind of acts like a barrier to keep the paint from getting underneath the tape. And you're painting the colored dope over that clear dope, so you can't see it.
Yeah.
All you see is your color.
You have a little edge there, but just when you get through, take some clear. When you start clearing, take your clear and hit just your edges. That's what they say when they say clear it. When you go to clear, hit just your edges. They're not talking about just your leading edges and trailing edges, the hinge lines. They also mean your paint edges. One fine line just with an airbrush or something that you just hit the edges of the different colors where they're laying out. And then let that tack coat, just a good tack coat. And then wait a few minutes and go back and spray the whole wing. But first you do the leading edge, trailing edge, and your edges of your colors where they come down, just where your paint stripes have been, or your AMA numbers. I go over mine one time with them. And then come back 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, whenever, and spray the whole plane nice wet coat. And then you sand that down. And if you're not happy with how smooth it is once you've sanded it down, do it again. Put a second coat on. I've got one down there that's got like 9 coats clear on it. Now, there's not that much paint on it because I'm too heavy-handed sanding, but I weigh between each coat. I weigh the plane and then spray it, and then I think, good gosh, I put 2 ounces of paint on this thing. I got to take an ounce of that off. So go back and sand. But just remember, when you're going to sand a lot, sand more off the tail than you do the front. That's one I had to learn the hard way. I sanded the front too much, ended up with a tail heavy airplane. I said, what the heck?
You just drill more holes in it.
Yeah, and then go back and patch them up. That works, I guess, but I tell you what, this stuff's all give and take, and it's all, you just learn it by doing it.
Oh, I have a comment, you guys, from Jeff Riley on YouTube. He says, let Ed know that the 3M tape that works is green from the auto paint shop. It costs about $3 for a 1/4 inch.
Green?
Yeah. Yeah, I bought
I'll
that.
look for that. I've never seen the green, but I'll look for it now.
Yeah, it's a pale green. It ain't green like you think, like
grass. Yeah,
like a lime green.
It's a real pale green.
Yeah, it's a real pale light green.
Okay, I'll look for some. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Uh-oh. The machinist has his machine in hand. He's using a Dremel. Look out. Trying. Oh, look at it. Oh, buffing wheel. Okay. He's buffing.
I think we're too boring for Gary.
So,
I'd love to have a spider on a string, a plastic one.
Hey, Tom, what kind of radio do you use?
I use a Tranus.
Oh, okay.
Or Tranus Plus.
Tranus.
What, like a X7 or a Horus or?
No. One of the, I don't know. I have to go get it, I guess.
Now you're stalling because you knew I was going to ask you about it, and you didn't get it ahead of time.
It's a Tranus Plus. Hang on,
I bet I'm using an older radio than any of you. I've got a Silver 7 I'm still using.
Oh, who made the Silver 7?
I did. Ace built the kit, and I built that thing in 1974. Oh, look at that. Tranus, that's a good looking radio. Okay.
What number is that one, Ryan? That's the same one.
Must be nice. It must be nice. These guys got these expensive radios.
I guess that one they don't make anymore, or
I don't think so.
It must have worked too good, Steve.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. They got a bunch of new ones out that have. Does yours have telemetry and everything in it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking at them earlier. They got like an X7 and a Horus. They got one now that's like almost $500.
I think this one, a whole bunch of other companies were making receivers, so they're really cheap. And so I think Tyrannus said, hey, we're losing money because other people are making receivers. So then they design new transmitters that don't work with those receivers. So that's what the problem is with the new ones.
I thought 2.8 was supposed to work with all 2.8, but
2.0. No.
Yeah, well, whatever.
There's FASS
2.4
EMX and
yep, there are all these different protocols.
I got
give a good electronic engineer a goal like that, and he can make it do anything but talk to you. Well, maybe he can do that too.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear this?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Strangely like your voice.
Oh, Lord. Now
Yeah,
the radio's talking.
mine doesn't talk, it just beeps. So when you start hearing beeping when you're flying, you know that something's screwing up and you best get your ass back to the ground quick.
Yeah, that's what mine does. Battery gets low.
Actually, with Tyrannus, what you can do, you can record anything that you want to have the Tyrannus stuck to you, give it a file name, load it into the machine, and next time that you need it, you can put it in your program.
Right.
All I need is for it to say, I said up, stupid.
If you want that, you can have it.
Oh, that's great.
Terrain.
Have it in Joy's wife, right? I mean, have it in Joy's voice.
It has the snaffle.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I've got that altimeter in my glider, motorized glider, and it tells you it talks the altitude every so often.
And it also beeps if you're in lift or in sync. It's a variometer.
I have it's on a 3-position switch, so I can either shut it off so it's quiet, or I can do the beeping, or I can do where it talks to you and tells you the altitude.
Well, that would be nice though with the altimeter, so that you don't go over 400.
Exactly.
Your transmitter will tell you if you're in lift or sync.
Yep.
It beeps.
That's wild. I've got a thermal sniffer from the 70s that does that. But
yeah, that's the same principle. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Is that above the current ground level or above sea level?
From where it is now. If it starts going up, it got a and if it starts coming down, it's
exactly.
How'd that go again, Phil? It goes up.
Well, no, I was talking about the altimeter for when it tells you you're 400 feet. Is that above sea level?
Oh,
or
I don't
ground level?
know about that.
The altimeter, I have a switch that sets it to 0. So if I set it to 0 before it takes off, then it's that
where you're at. Okay.
Wherever you are, yeah. Mine just will tell if it's going up or down. It doesn't tell in relation to where it started. But mine's from the 70s.
Yeah, that's how I knew how high I was flying my plane one day, and I was flying my DLG glider. I think I started at about 150 feet, and it ended up at 2,400 feet.
How the heck did you see a DLG at 2,400 feet? You got some good eyeballs.
Yeah, it was really small. I have a hard time deciding which direction it flies. I was just looking at the trajectory of the plane, and I give it a little bit of rudder or aileron control to correct it. And I was flying under a cloud too.
Wow.
To make sure I see it.
Yeah, my brother did that. He didn't have telemetry, but he just pulled the airplane straight up, and it went to a little dot. And it's like, we didn't know if it was going up, if it was hanging. And finally, the heading was different. So we kind of knew that it had reached whatever height it could finally reach before it kind of quit flying. And then he just stuck it into a spin and just brought her on down and until he knew.
Trey, and isn't it true that under a cloud like that, there's some point there's a whole lot of lift or suck, up suck, or whatever you want to call it?
Lift.
And you get into that, it'll go right into the cloud.
Sure will.
That's true. I think the cloud is a little bit higher, so I wasn't really reaching the cloud, but it was at the limits of my visual. You know, it took me more than a minute to bring it down, and that was nose in.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah, we're talking about a plane with a it's what 60-inch wingspan, something like that.
No, yeah.
It's about a 60-inch wingspan at 2,200 feet. The man's got some eyes.
I remember back in the 50s, one of the model airplane news articles was they were setting an altitude record for radio control, apparently. And the guy had a chair that was automated, leaned back, had these big, huge, you know, like you have on, we had them on the destroyer. They had a focal length this long, binoculars, not that big, you know. And he had those things sitting right here, and that's how he's flying that airplane. I'll never forget that picture.
Yeah, what sucks now is that you can put a little teeny camera on it and see exactly what you're doing, but now they don't let you go over 400 feet. So,
yeah,
I can launch at 400 feet with my sailplane on a winch. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
That's neat.
So I got LEDs in it.
Yeah, this one has LEDs. Here's
he's a night flyer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's sensitive. That's nice.
That's not even, sounds like stick on a low pass.
Guys, the first
Yeah, I need to put that into a control line airplane.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't hit the ground.
The first
Terrain
time
avoidance,
I saw
you got to build it automatically.
The first time I saw one of those, we went to a contest in Florida, and Dr. Walt Good had the one like I've got now in his plane, and we were all just mesmerized by watching Walt fly that airplane. And he must have got 50 orders for that thing that weekend. That was the darndest thing any of us had ever seen. But this is 1976, 5, 6, something like that.
Wow, that's pretty accurate. 3.6.
That is. And ours is not that accurate. That's you have to move more than that to get all the signal he was getting. That was pretty sharp. That's amazing.
I remember
technology is increasing.
I remember
What are you paying for receivers on that on the Tyrannus?
$10 for the $10 for non-telemetry, and I think this one that's in this glider is about $40 because it has the altimeter built into the receiver.
Oh, okay.
It's not you can buy the altimeter as a separate component and then plug it into the receiver, but this particular receiver has it automatically built into the receiver.
Oh, okay.
That's just cool.
Yeah, because I was looking tonight, and for an 8-channel Tyrannus, their new receivers are like $26. I didn't think, that was bad at all.
What do the servos sell for nowadays?
I'll be right back.
So what some manufacturers do, they sell you a super expensive transmitter, they give you cheap receivers, or they give you a super cheap transmitter, but anything else receiver, and after that they're gonna move up the prices. But Tyrannus was never like that. And actually with Tyrannus, I mean, you can do anything with it. I mean, if you can imagine it, you can program it to do whatever you want it to do.
Well, that's neat. I'd never heard of a Tyrannus before. I have a JR and a Airtronics and a Ace. I've got 3 Aces, but got a Silver 7 and a I've forgotten what the all up Silver 7 was. I can't remember. And then I've got a 7000. But that Tyrannus just eclipses anything I've ever seen before. That's nice.
Yeah, for the price, it's really good. I mean,
yeah, it's $200 for the radio, and that comes with a case and the battery built into it. So all you have to do put receivers in a planes, and the memory on it is as much as you want to put in it. You can put hundreds of planes in one radio.
That transmitter was $200.
Yeah.
God, the last JR I bought was $6.
Yeah, that's the same
you
thing
got robbed.
with my high tech. But I mean, that little 6-channel receiver is like $34.
Wow, that's
a 9-channel with the double antenna is $64. That's what I'm kind of thinking about.
Stuff has really come down.
Hey, Phil.
Yes, sir.
My radio I still haven't used it in years, but I've actually got the buddy box and the other radio port is a Futaba, 72 megahertz AM.
Yeah, I think I have one of those downstairs too. I don't use it, but I've got it. I
used to have all Futaba radios.
Yeah,
they used to. I remember we used to go to the contests, and it was all these guys are ace, and it was a very small group of us. Then there was the craft guys. Then there was Futaba. Then there was Airtronics, and it was all just little groups, and the group stuck together, and nobody ever shared any technology whatsoever. Now you go, and people will tell you stuff. But I think people have figured out if we don't start telling people what's going on and let everybody get a little better, we ain't going to have any place to go pretty soon.
When I started flying, there was Heathkit.
Yeah.
There was Kraft.
And I had a buddy that had a Heathkit.
Ace. And then World Engines had one.
Oh, that was junk. That was junk. I had one. That was terrible.
You know what? I had an AM. Well, we still got, my brother has it, but it's an AM World Engines deal, and everybody said that is just junk. So we did a walk-off to see if you could how far you could get away from the airplane.
World Engines probably won that.
It won it. I mean, I was like a mile away, and they were holding up a flag. I could see it. I couldn't see if anything was moving, and I just walked and moved that thing. But the other people couldn't go half as far as what I could with that damn old World Engines. They had open gimbals on it, but they were ball bearing.
Yeah.
I had I think it was a World Engine single stick 2-channel I used on my Gentle Lady. And I love that. You know, just one stick where I didn't need the other stick anyway, you know. And just left and right, up and down. That was all I had.
Well, I had an Airtronics 3-channel. It was 2 sticks, but the second stick, all it did was the spoilers. It's the same transmitter Skip Miller won the Worlds with his Aquila. But I sold that thing 3 or 4 years later because the newer stuff was out, and I wanted to get the newer stuff. The guy I sold it to is still using that transmitter and receiver. He said all he's changed is the batteries.
Yeah.
That old stuff just works.
Well, that's like, you know, I fly
72
mode
megahertz.
1. Most people fly mode 2.
Yeah.
But I fly mode 1 just because that's where, you know, you had a single stick, and then you had 2 sticks. So one stick went left and right, and one stick went up and down. They weren't hooked together. So, you know, ailerons was always on my right hand, and elevator was on the left. You know, then they came out with the throttle was on a ratchet.
The elevator was on the right. It was on my right
No,
hand.
ailerons are on the right.
Mine, the ailerons in the elevator on the right, and the throttle and the rudders on the left.
Yeah,
that's my motor too.
That's my
the thing with Tyrannus, you can do anything with it. You can switch the springs by just loosen up a couple of screws, and now the stick is going to be loose, like for a throttle. Or if you want to change it into a spring-loaded stick, you can do that too to it. And
I'm going to look into a Tyrannus tomorrow. That's neat.
I mean,
that's neat.
But if you wanted to cook your breakfast, it won't do it. I'm sorry.
I'm the egg cook around here anyway, so it's all right.
But I will tell you
and
the
you have
altitude of
32 channels on it.
how many BTUs you need to cook your eggs.
Wow. Do what?
I said I'll tell you the altitude so you can figure out what the BTUs you need to cook your eggs.
Yeah, that's the one thing I can cook. So I cook the eggs, but everything else my wife cooks.
Now,
She's a heck of a cook.
If you make a plane, like if you make a plane like those guys are doing in flight test, and then put a microwave on it and put your stuff inside, it will actually literally cook your breakfast. It all
I'm surprised,
depends.
Trying that you fly like a European, or basically not really European, an American style radio. The European style radios are flat and you can't hold them in your hand.
Those boxes stuff, yeah.
That was like, we had friends, my buddy from England, that's what he was used to, flying on a strap and working his sticks like that, because you just couldn't hold that thing in your hand.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
I fly mode 2 because the stick on the right is just like a stick in the airplane. It controls the ailerons and the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just like
that's the reason I do it.
In a real plane.
That's the reason I do it.
Mode 2 works good for me as well.
I do the same exact thing, only I fly mode 3, which is exactly what you have.
Mode 1.
Reverse.
Yeah, reverse to mode 1.
No, it's
well,
mode
you're
2
left-handed.
reversed.
You're left-handed.
I have the aileron. I have the aileron and the elevator on the left hand.
Yeah,
I thought that was
left-handed.
4.
And no, it's 3.
Are you left?
They came up with they would have, if you were a ham, you could get your, because you had to have your call sign on your airplane if you flew. So they would let you have your AMA, would let you have your ham radio call sign as your AMA number. And,
that's cool.
And so you would put that on the airplane and you were ready to go. Problem that I ran into is I found too many guys who were not hams who were flying on that band, and they were you'd go over and say, hey, do you have a license? Are you licensed to operate this? No, I don't need one.
What is that? Trying.
That's nice and shiny.
That's a wheel pants.
Yep.
I mean,
that's nice.
Wheel pants. Yeah, very nice.
That's nice.
Very beautiful.
So anyway, I decided not to fly on the 6-meter band because I couldn't try. If they wouldn't obey the rules, I couldn't figure that they would obey the rules about flying when they weren't supposed to fly when somebody else was flying on that band. They just turn their radio on because they don't check to see if there happens to be another 6-meter flyer there. You know where I'm going with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've lost a sailplane because of that.
Back before they had frequency hopping.
Yeah, that thing. I had one disappear in the clouds because I couldn't get it back because I couldn't figure out why is it not responding. Some idiot turned on me and was getting ready to launch, and he said his plane was doing all kinds of crazy things because I'm over here trying to get mine back.
Right.
He finally turned it off, but the plane had disappeared in the clouds. So I said, all right, full left, full right, and it just spun down where we could see it again, but it was way over there. I said, I don't know if I'm gonna get this one back or not, but I did, but I lost that thing for about 10 minutes, and then somebody saw it over on the horizon, and we got it back. And we used to put, I don't know if you can still do this or not, but we used to put machine tape on the leading edge, and when it turned around towards you, you'd see this flash of light, and you could tell which way it was going. So I got it turned back toward us and got it back to the field. I mean, I cleared the trees at the end of the field by inches, but we got it back. And that's when I decided these idiots that cut up, these guys, if you don't have the frequency pin, don't fly. But
the thing is with operating on the ham band, they were used to the fact that they were the reason why it's popular for guys to pirate it was there wasn't anybody on that frequency half the time.
Yeah.
And
so they didn't worry about the pins.
Right. So they wouldn't worry about the pins. They go to a meet where there might be 3 or 4 other guys flying on 6 meters.
Yeah.
Okay. And now they're creating a habit. They're creating a problem.
Yeah.
And they don't even belong there. They don't have the right to be there.
Well, they never did that much around here because we had 2 FAA people around here, and we had 2 FCC people around here. My brother-in-law is FCC, and he would come out and check everybody. And if you didn't have what you were supposed to have, he didn't mind writing you up.
Well,
he'd heard me giving too many horror stories of people losing gliders. But he's the one that had bought me the flight pack for the Legionnaire for my birthday present that year. And when I about lost it because of an idiot,
well, I went all the way to Orlando, Florida to fly in a contest there.
I did too.
Just before Christmas, and got down there, and we flew in Gainesville at the Gator place. Flew there for a few days and all that, then went down to Orlando. And the day before the contest, I'm flying. I'm coming across the field doing a slow roll. Ooh. And some guy was there with his grandson, turned his radio on and hit my airplane. Wow. Right into the ground.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
And I told him, I said, you owe me an airplane. That used to be the deal. If you turn on your radio without the pin, and I had the pin on my, back in the day, the pin was on there. And he just packed up and left. But he owed me $1,000 airplane and never.
Yeah, they don't do that. Yeah, I went down there, Steve. We thought we had the most active control line. We had the most active sailplane club on the East Coast at one time. Golden Triad Thermal Thumbers. There was 36 active members, and there was about 70 members. But there was 36 active members every week. Every Wednesday we were out there, and every Saturday it was all day long. So we all thought we were getting pretty good. We were progressing pretty good in the LSF ranks and all that. We all thought we were pretty good. We descended on Florida thinking we were going to do well. We got our butts handed to us. Those guys down there can fly. And Walt Good was down there that's when I met Walt Good. And I mean, he showed me some things about trimming an airplane. I'd always trimmed the plane, get the balance point where it showed on the plans. Sure. But they said, you take that thing and float it out there. And, our planes would always fly along and they'd slow down and they'd kind of drop the nose and then pick back up. It's supposed to just go until it just settles into the grass. And when I learned to retrim that, it was a whole lot more tail heavy than I was used to. But once I learned to trim it the way those guys trimmed it, I went up I won several contests from the local guys here pretty quick because the rest of them thought, that old fart don't know what he's talking about. He don't know what he's talking about. None of them knew who he was. Walt didn't wear all those pins and all that you see in the magazines with him wearing his things as Dr. Walt Good. He didn't wear all that crap. He was out there in a T-shirt and an old hat. That's it. He just looked like another guy out there flying. But he walked up to me and asked me, did I want to know how to make that plane fly? Come find out he designed that airplane.
Wow.
So
he might have an idea of how to make it fly.
Yeah. So he showed me how to trim that airplane. And buddy, when I come home, I had some fun with that plane. But then I learned if it works on this one, it should work on an Aquila and on a Legionnaire and on a Viking and on the other planes. And we started having some fun after we learned how to trim them.
I had a buddy of mine that flew in the Tournament of Champions.
The interesting thing about RC, Bill, is RC predates control line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing a picture of the Good brothers launching this big, huge radio control plane at one of the first nets that radio control was ever in. One was on each wingtip, all of helping that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took off running each one of them, and I don't know how in the world. My question was, who ran the transmitter?
The transmitter sat on the ground with tubes in it.
Yeah, but I mean, who ran the transmitter? Because Walt and his twin brother were on the wingtips.
Well,
Who's running the transmitter? I guess it took off like a free flight.
They set it up and take it off like a free flight.
Yeah. But they won a bunch until they went off to the war, and they come back and they had to learn all over again because things had changed.
Yeah.
But they
helped
progressed
develop the proportional. They were developing these drones for live fire exercises. We used to fire at them off the destroyer I was on. They were still using them. And they not only went to prop, but they went to jet. They had jet ones.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well,
yeah, they were involved in that.
Tesla was the one who gave them the technology. He was the first one to come up with radio control.
Who was that?
Tesla.
I think you're right.
Uh-huh.
At the World's Fair, I don't think it was the Chicago's World Fair or one of the World's Fair in 1902 or something like that. That's how far back it went.
I remember they had a full size airplane. It was set up with radio control. It was a biplane. I think
there was pictures of that in the AMA.
Huh?
There was pictures of that in the AMA when they did the story on the Good Brothers a year ago.
Yeah, that airplane was loaded up with explosives, and the idea was that they would fly it into the battleships. They did it on the Potomac River. They tested it there.
Yeah. You know, that's what happened to. Go ahead.
I was watching a thing on Tesla, and they were showing all the stuff that he invented, and they said that he gave away all of his patents. He died a pauper, but he gave away all of his patents because different GE and all that kind of stuff, they couldn't afford to pay the royalty and all that. But they said if he would have kept his patents, he would have been the richest man who ever lived.
I believe that.
I don't doubt that a bit.
Yeah, they said that the money that was made off of his patents that he just gave away, like to the military, they did the drones and all that kind of stuff. And
there's still stuff he did that they aren't sure exactly how he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole group that's what they do is study Tesla, trying to figure out how to do some of the stuff he did. But you know, talking about the radio control airplane, that's how Joe Kennedy was killed. JFK's older brother was killed in World War II, flying a B-17 that was supposed to fly into a side of a mountain to get a V2 but they asked him to stay in for just another minute. They were having some problems. And the rest of the crew bailed, or I think it was just the co-pilot bailed. And Joe stayed in the thing, said he'd stay in it for just a few more minutes. And it blew up. It blew up. So anyway, what they don't tell you in the story that they did a little small movie on that. What they didn't say in the movie is when it blew up, the B-17 that was flying with it was damaged so bad they had to bail out of it too. Must have been a lot of ordnance they had in that airplane.
Well, the Germans had a setup they called the Mistral, and they had a bomber. They had pylons on it, and they had a Focke-Wulf or whatever mounted on that, and the pilot was in that Focke-Wulf controlling the darn thing. And what you do, you get it aimed at the target, then he'd blow the explosive bolts, and he'd pull off while that bomber went into whatever the target was. I don't know how successful they were or how far they went with it, but they had several versions of it that they had built.
You know, the more I study World War II, the more I wonder how in the world we won that war.
We came so close to having the Japanese drop dirty bombs on the West Coast due to the Germans sending they had these big submarines that were freighters actually, and they when they knew their war was about over for them, they loaded up the ME-262. They loaded one of those onto it. They loaded all of the nuclear stuff that they'd been working on, trying to perfect a nuclear bomb. They loaded that on it, and they were sending it to Japan. And the Japanese had developed these twin-hulled submarines. They had a hangar deck on them. They carried 3 fighters on pontoons, and they would come up. These things would come up the ramp. They'd unfold the wings, mount the pontoons on them, and set them in. They had a little crane there. They set them in the water. They take off, and they were going to use them to bomb the
West Coast.
well, the West Coast. But one of their targets was the Panama Canal. They figured they could shut that off. They could, but they had set them up. They had 3 of these big submarines, and they were prepared to take this fissionable material that the Germans were sending them. They were going to put them in bombs. And they were going to bomb Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, all of these West Coast towns, and with dirty bombs. We came within 12 days of them succeeding on that. The reason they didn't was because the German captain on the big freighting submarine found out that Germany had surrendered, and so he turned his boat and pulled into New York Harbor. Here's this big submarine, and he surrenders right there. Well, they started unloading this thing, and then they found out they had nuclear material, and they made the Germans finish unloading it. But if that submarine had continued its course, it would have been like 12 days or so. They would have been in Japan and would have loaded that. And those 3 big Japanese, they're double-hulled submarines.
Mm-hmm.
Those big submarines would have gone on their mission, and we would have had not nuclear bombs, but dirty bombs rained down on the West Coast.
Wow.
Yeah, the first one was sank by a British sub. Sub.
Yep.
The first one ever.
They were amazed at how big it was.
Yeah, he shot it from behind. He got behind it, and I forget how many torpedoes he let loose, but he finally hit the damn thing. And they said they didn't know it had radioactive material until they found it, and at the bottom of the the North Sea, somewhere coming out of there, and it's
more than one
so
of them.
radioactive that nothing grows around it or anything.
Yeah.
But it's at the bottom of one of the oceans.
That's a mess.
Let me interrupt you guys. It's 9 o'clock and I guess 12 o'clock on the East Coast. So
Yes,
I just want to thank everybody for showing up. Of course, you guys can continue on and talk and everything else you want to do. But I want to thank you guys for showing up. We also had some people on the YouTube side. There was Jeff Riley, Minnesota Mike, and Jack Natalie. Another guy I think William Schumacher, first person, and Todd. I want to thank you guys, and you guys had your own conversation going, and I was trying to keep you guys included what's going on here. But we had a good show, and I want to close it out. We'll get together again Friday. So hopefully between now and Friday, you can come back with some information about what you've done, and hopefully have some fun. You can share it with us. And with that being said, one more thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and consider being a member. That'd be wonderful if you would help the show in that way. Thank you very much. And with that, good night.
See you, Charles.
You too.
Take it easy, Charles.
See you guys
Good night,
Friday.
Charles. I'll see you guys later.
See you Friday.
Take care.